Welcome to Trojan Young Life Year in Review. I'm staff member Nick Lawrence.
And I'm committee chair Andy Wilhelm.
And thank you. Thank you for the stories you're about to hear and the lives that you've changed through being a financial partner and a prayer partner. All that you're going to see in the next few minutes is because you and our leaders and our committee have worked together as one to bring kids to the feet of Jesus.
And thank you for those of you who are joining us for the first time who are not supporters of this ministry. Our goal is to raise an additional $25,000 by the end of this year to help support our mission.
One of the major parts we do here in Young Life is we take kids to camp. Camp is a week designed for the high school kid. It is a 5-star resort that has go-karts, zip lining, and whitewater rafting. It is designed to get kids to be in community, away from their normal life, and every night they hear the gospel proclaimed. Check out this video.
Doesn't really matter what we do. Don't let the moment pass us by. Just trust that the universe is right. 'Cause we struck gold in the shining light, and it's all gonna be alright. This is the good life. Oh, 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 oh. This is the good life. Out in the sunshine, nothing but good times. This is the good life. This is the good life.
Let's go!
I just wanna spend every day with you. Happy with the little things we do. Just keep a smile, hold your head up high. I promise it works every time. 'Cause we struck gold in the shining light, and it's all gonna be alright. This is the good life. This is the good life. Out in the sunshine, nothing but good times. This is the good life. This is the good life. Cause we struck gold in the shining light, and it's
What are you talking about? You guys lied. Oh,
And his sidekick. Let's go!
This is the good life. This is the good life.
Start that.
Camp was great, Nick. I heard so many great stories from the students. My two boys went, had a great time, told me all about it, and just a great experience for all of our students. One other great thing that we were able to do this last year is hire Randy Dooley. We brought Randy on knowing that we had a need to minister to the female students of our school. Meet Randy Dooley.
My name is Randy Dooley. I'm married to Jimmy Dooley, and we have 2 7-year-old daughters, Mac and Maddie, and a 3, almost 4-year-old son, Griffin. It's been an honor and privilege to come on Young Life staff and be able to work especially with the females in our ministry. My role is threefold. I get to equip and mentor our leaders Our adult leaders, things just like having them over for dinner, pouring into their lives, giving them even the hope that Jesus offers, because sometimes we can all lose sight of that. Beyond them, I also get to do that with our student leaders, mentor them, show them how they can show their peers Jesus in simple ways. They need to be equipped too. It's not easy to share Jesus with our peers. And then I get to have my own ministry with our female students, especially at East Central High School. Things like last night we had campaigners, and a girl shared with us how lonely she's feeling, that friends are going different ways and she doesn't really know where she stands in that. But I was able to offer her the hope that Jesus is always there with her, even when things are going different ways, and He's got a plan for her life. And we've set up doing a devotional together just to hold her accountable, and each morning provide her with the hope that Jesus is with her even when she's feeling lonely at school. Things like that are what I get to do on Young Life staff. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for the opportunity to do this ministry. Your support, your giving, your prayers, they allow us to reach so many more students at East Central High School. Because of that, we get to offer them the hope of Jesus, and we could not do this ministry without you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Randy has been a great addition to the team. Her heart, her passion, the way she connects with female students has been a major blessing already. One other big win to celebrate this year was what's been happening on Monday nights at club. We are filming this film in our club location. The Donovan family has graciously offered us their barn off of North Dearborn Road across from the North Dearborn Library for Monday nights to throw a party with a purpose. For club to exist, 3 things have to happen. 1, kids have to have fun. 2, leaders must be connecting with kids. And 3, the gospel is proclaimed each night.
I've heard from so many kids what a great time it is. And I've also heard from parents how inviting the environment has been for their kids.
A lot to celebrate this year. As we think about over 200 kids have been involved, we averaged 65 kids coming to club, and our largest night had 85 high school kids showing up. Check out what a night at club looks like.
I'm having the time of my life. Everything is going alright. Ooh, I just made them look twice. This is how it feels when you living that good life. I'm just living that good life. I'm just living that good life. I'm just living that good life. I'ma do me, I can't do it no different. Gold shades tinted, yeah, I got the right vision, yeah. I won't let you down, we about to paint the town. Got the people all around, we been surfing on the crown, yeah. We them cool kids with the roof down, yeah, we let loose, so lighten up, break the rules now. Yeah, we wild out the house with the tunes loud. On top of the clouds, looking round. Yo, how we ever getting down? Oh, I'm just going with the flow. Hey, you just gotta let me know. I think that it's about that time to go. One time for the gram, no. Go ahead, strike the pose. Got the city on lock. They ain't seen nothing like it. Got the whole spot popping. Ooh, it gets so exciting. Had the time of your life. Can I get that in writing? Hey, and tell them everybody invited. I'm having the time of my life. Everything is going alright. Ooh, I just made them look twice. This is how it feels when you living that good life. I'm just living that good life.
As much fun as club is, with the large crowds and the high energy and the lights, Young Life is still about the one kid. The one kid meeting Jesus for the very first time. Meet my friend Logan. I'm here with my friend Logan. Logan, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm Logan Rohrbacher. I'm 18. I go to the University of Cincinnati. I recently graduated at East Central High School in 2021. I played basketball there. I was a captain. That was a big thing in my life.
You say you like basketball. Who is one NBA player that you model your game after?
That is a difficult question. I would probably say Luka Doncic because both of us really aren't athletic. I'm not very athletic, but I could get a bucket every once in a while, which is what Luka does. He just gets buckets. That's what he does.
And as your full-time screener, when we play pickup basketball together, who would you say my game is modeled after?
I would say your game is modeled after a Dennis Rodman type. The guy that's always going to get the board, he's setting screens, he's letting the team win. You know, there's no championships without Dennis Rodman, and that's you right there. There's no winning without the screen and roller right there.
True that. So, Logan, you and I first met a few years ago when I was teaching chemistry. You were in my class. And then this past year, as we started Young Life, you've been getting involved. So tell me a little bit, what has Young Life meant for you, or what was your experience with Young Life this past year?
So Young Life to me has just been a place where I get to meet a lot of new friends. I've met a lot of great people there. I've had a lot of great experiences there, and there was always just something to do, and it was always just a great time with great people.
Tell me, what was your faith like this time a year ago, or if you had a faith, or if you didn't have a faith in Christ or in God?
I would say that I really didn't have a faith in Christ or in God, but I would say that I had values in that essence. As in that, I mean, I probably would say I believed what Christ would teach and what the Bible would teach, but I didn't really implement that in my life. I wasn't doing it because of Christ or because of God. I was just doing it because I thought it was the right thing to do, but I wouldn't say that I really had a faith.
So has Young Life, or how has Young Life helped you in your faith, or helped you find a faith?
Young Life has helped me tremendously in finding a faith. We went down to Windy Gap, and that was a very big week for me in my faith. I'd say that that was the closest I've ever felt in my relationship to Jesus, and overall helped my relationship tremendously. I started going to church after that and going to Bible study, reading my Bible a lot more significantly, and it really helped my relationship, and seeing all the great people around it really helped it too.
The first time you've ever been to church was this summer, correct?
Correct. That was with you, I believe, the Sunday after Windy Gap, the very Sunday after I went with you and your family, and also Clayton Banker came with us. Yeah.
So what would your life be like now if you did not get involved in Young Life?
I'd say my life would feel like it has less of a purpose. Going to college, like I said, my whole life before this was really basketball. So I really felt like it was just basketball. But, you know, now that I've adapted Christ in my life, I feel like I have a new purpose in life. And I really have something to do. That means waking up and reading my Bible, going to service. I just ultimately feel like I have more purpose in my life.
You mentioned club, you mentioned camp at Windy Gap, but were there any other highlights that really just stick out to you that you really valued?
There's a lot of highlights that I could talk about. I could probably go on and on about highlights of Young Life. You know, some of those would include cabin time. For example, we would always just get together at camp. We had cabin time where we'd just talk about life. We got to know each other a lot. And a lot of those people I didn't know as well, but after camp, I'd consider them my brothers and my friends. And, you know, after camp, we actually would still get together and have our own cabin time where we met up, had a good time together, talked about life, answered each other's questions, and overall just connected like we have.
Who are some of the people this past year that maybe influenced you or helped you with your walk, or who's just been there?
I'd say there's been a lot of people. I'd say definitely for sure you, Cole Norman, Jared Tiemann, Andy Wilhelm. All of them have really helped me in my journey. You know, I recently just got a text from Cole asking me to go to church with him. You know, that's something I always like to see. And you always being there, going to church with me. And Andy Wilhelm really pushed me to go to camp. He was saying it would be the best week of my life, and I wouldn't argue it with him. So it was a really great time, and he had a great influence on me.
Yeah. Well, Logan, I appreciate you taking time today to chat. I just want to say it's been awesome. From the kid in chemistry class who was kind of quiet but was diligent, to now a guy that I love hanging out with and a good friend of mine. I've just always loved how authentic you are. I've always loved how much you've just cared about people around you. And now that you are really beginning to explore who Christ is, I'm just super excited to see what he does in you, through you, and with other people, because I believe he has the greatest message in the world about how we can love other people. And you already did that so well that I'm just really excited to see how God takes it to the next level. Got a lot of respect for you, man, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Students like Logan meeting Jesus for the first time is the heart of what Trojan Young Life is all about. So thank you. Thank you for helping students like Logan, and who you'll meet in a moment, Courtney, meet Jesus. But reviewing the year, so much more ministry has happened than just students meeting Jesus for the first time. And in prayer and reflection, God revealed to me 8 distinct areas that he was at work. The first area that God was at work was our adult leaders. Over the last 18 months, we've had 16 different adult leaders pour and invest into high school students. Our adult leaders commit 2 to 3 hours each week at showing up to basketball games, volleyball games, and just simply being around high school kids to earn the right to speak into their life, to develop deep friendships that turn into a mentor relationship. Next, our student leaders have been impacted. This past year, we had 33 student leaders who said, I want to make a difference in my friends' lives. I want to be intentional about befriending new people so that I can share the hope and the message of Jesus Christ with them. We see our students grow in their confidence as they were learned and they taught and went through training of how to share their testimony in 2 minutes or less, or how to share the gospel of Jesus Christ in 30 seconds or less. Next, we saw another segment of our population join in Young Life. A group of students who already knew Jesus, but yet they were very disconnected from the church, or they weren't involved, or they weren't actively pursuing their faith. And we saw a population of these students get involved and get energized and re-encouraged and start showing back up on Sunday mornings at our local church. And the last section of students that we saw was a large community who just wanted positive friendships, who would show up to trivia night, to dodgeball tournaments, to open basketball gyms or volleyball nights, or who would just simply come to club because of the pizza and the party atmosphere, which was okay because they were in the same room hearing the message of Christ. But then finally, I thought about our adults who were impacted, about our 13 committee members who've donated time and money and resources to help do the work behind the scenes, from cleaning up club to sending out mailers to praying for our leaders and praying for our students by name. Or our 11 business sponsors who make a profit in this world but said that they want to make an investment into the next, that their physical hands and the benefits that they reap and reward would be used for the kingdom of God so that more students would have a place at the feet of Jesus. And finally, I think about the ministry that the 166 families developed this past year, as they donated and supported us, but also as they prayed for our students, as they prayed for our leaders, so that all may know who Christ is, and that our corner of Indiana would be a special place in the kingdom of heaven. So thank you. Thank you for being a part of the team. Thank you for being a part of the village that ensures each local student here has the opportunity to hear and to know the hope and power of Jesus Christ. I'd like you to meet my friend Courtney and how her life has changed through your generous support in Young Life.
Hello, I am here with my friend Courtney Clark, as we like to call her KJ. Courtney, would you like to tell me a little bit about yourself?
I'm Courtney Clark. I go to East Central High School. I'm a senior. I'm also on the dance team at the school, and I'm a captain.
So Courtney, tell me a little bit how you got involved in Young Life.
There was one day at school when there was a whole bunch of people just talking about, it was the first night of club actually, and there was a whole bunch of people talking about them going to Young Life that night. And then I asked my sister, I was like, I kind of want to go. And then she goes, you should. So I showed up. And at first I was kind of shy. I was just tucked in my own little bubble. But once I started kind of seeing people that I knew and seeing all these smiling faces, after that I was like, I know these are the people that I want to be around.
Tell me a little bit about your faith and how it was before Young Life, like about a year ago.
Before Young Life, I thought I had a faith. I realized that it was more of a belief instead of a faith. because I didn't act in it. I wasn't going to church, but I believed in the stuff that, was in the Bible and everything like that. Like, I would open my Bible occasionally, but I never made it a priority in my life.
So what would you say, what your faith life looks like now compared to that? Like, what are things that you're doing that are helping you grow in that faith that you have now?
Now I go to campaigners with the Young Life group Tuesday nights. And then I've started to go to church and everything more, which I wish I would have done so long ago. And then I have this thing where I make sure that I read like a certain amount of pages in the Bible at least either a day or, a certain amount of times within a week. So then that way I'm just kept up on my own.
I know one of the biggest things that I've enjoyed in Young Life so far was getting to hang out with you at camp. Like, our first time doing an activity together was when we went in the dark. We got a ticket since I danced on stage, and we went in the tree. It was pitch black, and I just had my life just flashed before my eyes because we flung out of this tree and nothing was in front of us. So that was a highlight for me, getting to hang out with you at camp. What was something so far in Young Life that has been a highlight in your life?
After the first 4 clubs, they were talking about camp and everything, and I really wanted to go. Nick actually came up to me and he told me, he said, "Courtney, you should go," and told me how there were a whole bunch of people who had donated a whole bunch of money to make us able to go, because that was one of my biggest issues. I didn't really have that money to be able to spend. But after Nick told me that, I was like, you know what, I really do honestly want to go to this. And I'm so glad I did, because when we got there, throughout the week, everybody just started getting closer and closer, and you could just tell that even with their faith, you could look at them and tell that their faith was just building as the week went on. I think another highlight during Windy Gap was especially when we did the 20 plus minutes of silence. That was the best. That was actually the best thing I think I've ever experienced, because I cried during that. Since I experienced that, and I was sitting there and I felt God's presence just, it was overwhelming to me. And then the cabin time after that, we were all just silent, because it was that overwhelming.
So Courtney, you mentioned Nick being inviting and encouraging you to go to camp. What are who are some leaders who have encouraged you and really invested in you to be that person you are today?
Well, obviously Nick Lawrence has you, especially you two, because we had to have one-on-one time at camp. You were basically asking me about how my faith was at the time. I was especially nervous because I knew that's what you were going to ask me. And when we got there, that's kind of when I realized that it wasn't my faith and my relationship with Jesus wasn't as strong as it should have been, or as strong as I wanted it to be. I don't know, I just felt like I could just talk to you.
Yeah.
And you just listened and you understood everything. We cried together. To me, Young Life, it's my favorite thing to do now. Ever since I was introduced to it and everything, and especially ever since camp, I've been so involved in Young Life because it's what helped me. It's what gave me that nudge to gain a stronger relationship with Christ. If I wouldn't have had those moments, then I wouldn't be who I am now, or I wouldn't know the right way or the right people to be around, and I would still be down in this little rabbit hole that I was in before, and I would still be thinking the same way I was. I'd be a lot more stressed. Yeah. I'd have a lot more anxiety, and ever since then, it's just a whole lot has just lifted right off my shoulders.
Yeah, and I think that's what a relationship with Christ does.
Yeah.
He wants to take those burdens from you. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say thank you to all of the adults that might not be completely involved in Young Life, but they have donated to help. If some of you guys hadn't have donated, I wouldn't have been able to go to camp.
Courtney, I just want to thank you so much for meeting with me today, and it's just been such an honor and pleasure to just grow with you and to see you from that little 7th, 8th grader at day camp to being a senior in high school. You do bring that joy and that light to Christ, from Christ to others, and I think that's a really attractive and thing that people want to know and to grow with you, because you do have that encouragement, and you really do put your heart and soul into what you're doing, and to just being available and just willingness to grow with Christ is truly inspiring.
Wow, God is good. All these stories remind me of why I choose to be a part of this ministry and why my wife and I choose to donate to it. I hope you've been touched by this. Remember, our goal is to try to hit $25,000 by the end of the year. There's a link on your screen. We hope that you'll consider being a part of this ministry and helping us in our goals for 2022. Thank you.